Shalom. All praises due to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha Quadash, the Bonner City elect, Apostle, Bishops, Elders at Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to like Akel did, whose work in sincerity and truth and not for vainglory, in season, out of season. Shalom to elect men, women, sons, and daughters of the elect of the nation of Israel, which are the elect men, women, sons, and daughters of you so-called Negroes, West Indian Haitians, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians scattered through the four corners of the earth. Okay, here in North, South, Central America, and scattered through the four corners of the earth. I just want to bring this out, the whole situation about Trump saying that they captured the Venezuelan president, Maduro of Venezuela, which is a part of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, the Venezuelans are Israelites. Okay, all right, and how they captured him and so forth. And Trump is, they asked him, Maduro said he's offering you everything in his country, whatever it may be. And Trump said, yeah, because they don't want to F with America. That's why Maduro offered everything, and he's making like it's just some grand victory. But they've been doing this to the nation of Israel. This is nothing new. Okay, they've had the 12 tribes in desolation and in slavery. Okay, even though certain of the Northern Kingdom, which is you Latinos and Hispanics, have set up your own countries, but we already know that Esau, the so-called white man, is always in there, and he's always doing things, and he's setting up puppet leaders. If you don't go according to Esau, the so-called white man's program, then they're going to get you up out of there. Okay. All right. So, and like one of the brothers said, up and coming elder, he said, the reason why they're going in there is to set up a puppet leader like they wanted to do for years and years and years in Venezuela. Okay, they wanted to get Maduro out of there, but Russia and China had his backing. Now, whether Trump captured President Maduro of Venezuela, we would have to see, whether he captured him and he's bringing him to trial or whatever the situation. We have to see, because it's still not 100% confirmed. Okay, and they want to set up, America wants to set up puppet leaders, and they want to steal all the oil from Venezuela. Okay, all right, so let's read one scripture. This is John 10:10. Okay, and we know this to be true. It says, the thief. Who's the thief? The thief is Esau. Okay, he's the major thief of the earth. He wants to talk about all the other nations, all the other heathen nations going into different lands and stealing their natural resources, when he's the thief, because he's in North America, stealing the natural resources from the tribe of Gad, which is the North American Indians, the tribe of Reuben, which are the Seminole Indians, and the tribe of Issachar, which are the Mexican Indians. He stole their land and he stole their natural resources. So he's the thief. Okay, the so-called white man is the ultimate thief. And not that the other heathen nations matter, but he went around the world stealing the natural resources, even from the heathen nations like Elam, which are the East Indians, stealing their gold, and their natural resources. Okay, he went over to Hawaii, you know, still in their land. You know, he went all over the earth, you know, different, you know, the French, you know, they're in certain parts of West Africa and all of Africa, you know, the British, you know, King Leopold III, if I'm not mistaken, from Belgium. They went over there in the Congo, you know, which is West Africa, Midwest Africa, still in all their natural resources. They went down to South Africa, you know, and the so-called white man is stealing the natural resources out of Africa, because Africa has a lot of natural resources, a lot of minerals, okay, gold and so forth, okay. So the so-called white man is the thief, you know, and the reason why he's over there in Venezuela, because he wants to set up a puppet leader over there, and he wants to steal all the oil, because Venezuela is rich in oil, okay. The thief cometh not, which is the so-called white man, okay. And this is specifically talking about, well, I'm specifically talking about America. You know, we know Britain has done it, you know, France has done it, you know, and the other, you know, the Spanish have done it. But I'm specifically talking about America, because Trump attacked America, right? President Trump. The thief cometh not but for to steal. Yeah, you know, and like the up and coming young elder, thou shalt not steal, like he said, you know, that's a part of the law, statutes, and commandments. But of course, Esau doesn't follow after the law, statutes, and commandment of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. You know, he follows after the spiritual demon Satan. All right. So he's just nothing but a thief, and he steals, and that's all the so-called white man has ever done, is steal, steal, steal. All right. Take what is not his. All right. You know, the Greeks did it. You know, the Roman Empire did it. You know, the British did it. You know, the French did it. The Dutch did it. You know, all these so-called white people, they have stole everything from the planet Earth. Okay, but what's important is they messing with the sons and daughters of the nation of Israel, the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's chosen people, which are the Venezuelans, by the way. Okay, and to kill, and you know, you see them, you know, you see on the news, they bomb in certain areas and so forth, you know, in Venezuela, you know, and of course a lot of people are gonna be murdered, you know, by them bombing, sending the U.S. military over there to bomb, you know, Venezuela. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be murdered. So yeah, that's what Esau is all about, and to destroy, you know, and that's what Esau is all about: death and destruction, and to steal and to kill, you know. And that's all Esau, which is a so-called white man, you know, especially America, all right, and all the other NATO and the EU nations, which are the European nations. Okay, that's all they're about. They're about stealing and killing. Okay, you know. So I just wanted to bring that out, and that's what you so-called white people are about. You know, too bad for you peon so-called white people that don't have any power, but your elites, you know, your elite banking families, which is the gefilte fish eaters, which is, you know, the small hat and the little hat wearers, you know, that's what they're all about. And that's what the so-called white man is all about too. You know, Amalek, which are the gefilte fish eaters, the small hats, you know, the little hat wearers, they're the grandson of Esau. So they're Esau, they're Edomites, and so are all you so-called white people. Okay, and all you are about is stealing and killing. Okay, murdering. Okay, first and foremost, murdering the 12 tribes of Israel, and then all the other heathen nations. All right, so yeah, that's what, you know, Trump, you know, acting like this is some great victory for him. Come on, man. You know, it's like, you know, you talking about attacking Iran, you know, you talking about attacking Russia, you know, but they got nuclear weapons just like you, America. Okay, the land of baseball and apple pie. They got nuclear missiles like you. All right, you know, which it's gonna happen, you know, according to Ezekiel the 30th chapter. You know, the so-called white man will go in Iran and attack them, but Russia's going to get involved and China's going to get involved. All of Iran's allies are going to get involved, and you know, the Third World War is going to take place. But yeah, that's all the so-called white man is a fucking thief and a goddamn murderer. Yeah, America, the USA, that's right. You know, Britain and France and Burkina Faso and West Africa and all these nations, but America, you know, the police of the world, you know. America wants to police the whole world, but that's what America's all about. So I hope you've been edified, and with that, Shalom. Fucking thief. America, so-called white man.